Yesterday, a so-called news article came out, although it was a fluff piece for Value Village, basically. And an industry expert who has never worked a day in this industry was interviewed. And they said that, you have to be very careful who you donate your clothes to because there's so many shady organizations. And, it was like a lot of fear mongering. But if you want to know where your items will be handled with care, these are the list of Value Village charities, and they will handle your items with care. That's a direct quote from this news article. And barely a blip about East Africa. It was mentioned that we have trade tensions with East Africa, and then they go on to promote the very Canadian charities that are sending everything to East Africa as where you should donate your clothes, and fail to mention that there's a whole other industry of graders and collectors that don't. So shouldn't we spread it out there? But nope, municipalities are giving Diabetes, Salvation Army, and their little glam squad of friends municipal contracts and giving them monopolies in many municipalities. And the word rogue keeps getting thrown around, or shady, rogue, shady. See that, and you'll see it from a lot of different people will use that word. That's when you know that that is a narrative spin that's been constructed. So they use that word to make you think that everybody is evil. Everybody other than their people are evil. And now you're scared of everybody. So I want to know, because I'm going to bite now, I want to know from these experts, how many rogue companies are there? You must know. You're such experts. So since you're such an expert, I want to know how many of those are rogue. That's what I want to know, because you must know if you're an expert, and if you don't, then shut up, because you're not an expert. I know. You know why? Because I've been in this industry for so long. And I can tell you that 12 years ago, piracy was a plague. 12 years ago, piracy was a plague in this industry. It caused stagnation. It's the reason, only partly, the reason Canada's 25 years behind the times on innovation, because they weren't interested in innovating and growing an economy. They were just trying to make their money. It was a big, big problem. I know because I fought these organizations myself at my own personal risk, at my family's risk. And now 3/4 of them are out of business, have retired. They can't be bothered with all the municipal stuff. And I was the one, by the way, who educated municipalities first. When nobody else would talk to them, nobody else was giving them information, I opened the doors to a 60,000 square foot facility and gave them unfettered access to not only the founder of export in Canada for textile waste, but one of the strongest collectors that has ever been in this industry. Unfettered access. And they were incredibly transparent and told them everything. Are there still pirate organizations? There are 2 that I know of. There's Simon, though. He likes to tell people that I'm rogue, that I'm a big pirate queen, which frankly kind of made me a legend, so thanks. Say 3. Let's say he's not lying. 3. Out of how many? How many collectors were there? If you listen to Claudia Marsalis, she'll say, we had green bins, blue bins, pink bins, yellow bins. So there were lots of, she said it herself. She thinks, though, that all of those companies they must be interconnected, because one driver who refused to answer her questions when she said, who do you work for? He said, all of them, because he didn't want to talk to her. And that to her was proof. Proof of what? So now they're doing this in 2 phases. So first they're saying, hey, municipalities, you should only let charities collect. Right? So that happened in Mississauga, that happened in Ottawa as an example. So that gets wiped out. So now they've wiped out the private sector, which they really haven't. If you look at MS Society Leeds Grenville, that's actually collected by a for-profit thrift store. So, it's smoke and mirrors. What these municipalities have done have created a process for smoke and mirrors. And it's so funny that I hear municipal officials say that these municipal regulations are here to protect the company or the industry from pirates, or society from pirates, when the biggest pirate in this industry has municipal permits in more than one municipality. So great job. Great job, because that guy has permits, and legitimate companies that actually do good for the industry don't, because they refuse to do smoke and mirrors. So this one guy, Simon, loves to gossip about me. I can't tell you how many experts or people in the industry even that I meet and I talk to, that I heard about you from Simon, you know, and it's that I'm rogue. Because now what they've done is anybody who's for profit, they just use the term rogue. And they imply that because we're for profit, that we're somehow less integral. So that means you need to stop shopping at every single business in Canada. Because unless the guy that makes your doorknobs or cuts your grass or whatever is a non-profit, you shouldn't buy products. You shouldn't go to the grocery store anymore. It's mind-boggling that this spin is working. So this guy implies that textile waste diversion, because that's who I represent, is rogue. York Region chose Textile Waste Diversion as the company to create the first ever municipal collection for textile waste in Ontario. They didn't choose anybody else. They didn't choose diabetes. They chose Textile Waste Diversion. And now you're going to imply that Textile Waste Diversion is a pirate, which means you're saying that York Region willingly worked with an alleged pirate queen to create the first municipal contract. That's laughable. And by the way, incendiary. Not smart. Not smart. And York Region, instead of kowtowing to these people because they're thinking, oh my God, can you imagine if that's true and it got out? It's not true. So what you should be doing is slapping a cease and desist on that little twerp, telling him to shut his trap. Because as he's slandering me, indirectly, that's a slander to York Region. It's an insult and a slap in the face. Given that I was the first and only, for a very long time, I was the only person in this sector that was transparent and shared information and talked to the industry, to municipalities. So much so, you chose me to create the first contracts. Rogue, shady, I only know of 2 organizations that still fit that bill. But I want to know, what is the municipality's reasoning? What is rogue to you? I want to know what rogue is to you, because I've never heard an actual definition. Well, they don't all donate to charity. The roguiest rogue I know has a contract with a charity, which is how he got permits in so many of your municipalities, because he hides behind a charity, and your bylaws make it easy for him to do so. So that's out. The other organization, okay, they're rogue. I hate them. Even the guy that donates, I hate him too. Because they do unfair competition practices. They steal bins, they lie to property owners. But you know, there's charities in this industry that have lied to property owners about my company. They're for profit. I know, it's on our signs. For profit, yeah, I know. I'm proud of that. I'm proud that I don't lie to the public. I'm proud that I don't hide behind the shield of charities. I've always been open. This is what we do. This is a family business, and this is why we're of value to the industry. Because we're right now only a handful of big, flashy charities, and you know, because you see the commercials on prime time, you know how much money you have to have those kind of commercials? These are big, fancy charities with big, fancy executives having the moral authority, apparently. And then a company like TWD allowed 35 small mom and pop shops that otherwise would never get noticed, never get support, to actually get funded. 35. So let's paint her as rogue before she does any more damage, before she gets the Canadian Competition Bureau down our throat. Let's paint her rogue. Let's paint her company rogue. Let's demonize for-profit players. It's not going to work.